Order, order. I'll call Jonathan Gullis to move the motion, and then I'll call the Minister to respond. There isn't the opportunity for the member in charge to wind up, as is the convention with 30-minute debates. So order, order. Jonathan Gullis to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Dame Marie. It's a pleasure to serve with you in the chair, and I beg to move that this House considers public access to defibrillators. Every year, 160,000 deaths are as a result of heart and circulatory diseases, which equates to nearly a quarter of all deaths in the United Kingdom. Of this figure, an estimated 100,000 people die each year from sudden cardiac arrest. Shockingly, survival rates for out-of-hospital cardiac arrest have survival rates which have been persistently low, around 8.5%. This demonstrates the urgent need for parliamentarians and government to improve survival rates and radically change the way in which we approach cardiac arrest. As chair of the all-party parliamentary group for defibrillators, I've heard some deeply moving stories which have led me to conclude that public access to defibrillators should be one of the government's foremost priorities. The APPG has undertaken a detailed inquiry into public access to defibrillators, which is published today, and its primary aim is to understand the impact of out-of-hospital sudden cardiac arrest and the need for improved public access to defibrillators. The plain reality is brutal. Without defibrillators or CPR, the chances of surviving cardiac arrest drops by 10% every minute. If a sudden cardiac arrest victim does not receive CPR or defibrillation within 10 minutes, they will unlikely, if not at all, survive. The quicker you can access a defibrillator, the more likely you are to survive cardiac arrest. However, the APPG for defibrillators report has found that there are considerable regional disparities in accessing defibrillators. The National Institute for Health and Care Research found that deprived areas had far more limited access to a defibrillator. And whilst 45% of the most affluent areas had at least one device, only 27% of the most deprived areas had at least access to one themselves. Further, according to the journal Heart, people in England and Scotland's most deprived areas are between 99 and 317 metres further away from their nearest 24/7 defibrillator than those in more affluent areas. In addition, rural areas have also a significant disadvantage. While 64% of urban areas have at least one device, only 36% of rural areas have one. Ambulance response times in rural areas are also considerably slower than in urban areas, and heightening the risk of death by cardiac arrest. This should make access to defibrillators an imperative in these areas, but it is not currently the case as much as I would like it to be. Given the sad truth that socioeconomic factors, education, diet and stress can increase or decrease the chances of cardiac arrest, it goes to show we need to improve public access to defibrillators significantly, especially in disadvantaged communities. Happy to give way to my honourable friend.
Gavin Williams.
I would like to congratulate my honourable friend in securing this debate, and I know he's done so much on this issue. In Staffordshire, based in Stone, you have the amazing charity AED Donate that does so much in terms of installing defibrillators. But one of the key points that they always hammer home is the importance of having these defibrillators registered so the emergency services know where to direct people. Do you think that's absolutely critical to make sure we get the best use out of them?
Dame Marie, I thank my right honourable friend for his intervention and couldn't agree with him more about the need, and actually we'll come to later that we need to ensure that these devices are registered. And actually having visited AED Donate myself, who are fantastic custodians who work incredibly hard, not just in rural Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, but actually across the wider country to make sure that access, and I know that my right honourable friend is a doughty champion for their cause as well as the community that he serves in ensuring that that life-saving access is accessible. Happy to give way to my honourable friend.
Shannon.
Can I commend the honourable gentleman for Stoke-on-Trent North for bringing this forward? Many in the House, Madam Maria and others will be aware that I did bring the automated external defibrillator public access bill to the House in 2020. Government at that time accepted the necessity of having defibrillators in schools, and that was a fantastic milestone in this catalogue of that the honourable gentleman has taken further. But does the honourable member agree with me that it's one thing to have defibrillators installed, but more must also be done to educate people in schools, such as teachers and teachers' associations as well, to use defibrillators properly to make the most out of them, and furthermore thereby save even more lives?
Well, thank you again, Dame Marie, my honourable friend, who is a great champion for the people of Strangford, and was an honour to go and visit his local community with him and see the fantastic work that he's doing in his community. And that particular bill absolutely has and still has my absolute full support. And again, I come later on to the importance of improving education, so that it's not just a one-off, that actually it needs to be repeated year in, year out, so that children in particular are immune to what will be a distressing scene, but most importantly, have that muscle memory and able to enact that life-saving support. And as the Minister himself is someone who is regularly saving lives, not just in his constituency, but across his wider region, with the work that he does, I'm sure he will understand the importance of that education and training being persistent and regular as well. In September last year, I was pleased to see the Department introduce the Community Automated External Defibrillator Fund. This £1 million investment will help increase access to these life-saving devices and put an extra 2,000 defibrillators on the streets. This is an important step forward from the Department, but I urge the Minister to do far more to address these clear imbalances that I've outlined earlier. The APBG for defibrillators and I have concluded that there is no coordinated national strategy to ensure that defibrillators are placed in areas with the highest need. And with previous research illustrating that cardiac arrest is more likely in deprived areas, the government should and must be ensuring that these areas have better or at least equal access to life-saving equipment than more affluent areas. But simply at this moment in time, that is not the case. With over 30,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests in the UK each year, the survival rates at 1 in 10, it is crucial that bystanders and emergency responders can locate and access the closest defibrillator immediately. The British Heart Foundation, NHS England, St John's Ambulance, the Resuscitation Council UK provide the NHS with vital information about a defibrillator's location. The circuit is a nationwide data-led map of defibrillators in the United Kingdom, and currently over 86,000 have been registered, but it's estimated that tens of thousands are still unaccounted for. I'm more than happy to give way for my honourable friend.
Thank you, Dame Maria, and I thank my honourable friend for securing this debate and also for giving such an excellent speech. The Hayling Island Community Responders are a voluntary emergency response group in the Hammett constituency who carry defibrillators and also train volunteers to use them. They're often the first people on the scene in a medical emergency. Will my honourable friend and my honourable friend, the Minister, join me in supporting community responders, encouraging more defibrillator training and encourage more volunteers to join community medical response groups across the country?
Well, I first of all want to thank my honourable friend for the undoubted effort he puts regularly in his constituency to raise that fantastic community group of, like you say, dedicated volunteers. And it goes to the point made by my right honourable friend, the member for South Staffordshire, when it came to the fact that these groups that go in day and out don't expect much money at all, but actually try and do everything they can at cost with their own time to literally save those lives. And I wholeheartedly congratulate his organisation that he's referred to and himself for making sure that he's used this chance to put their name on the floor here in this Westminster Hall debate and ensure that they are in Hansard for all the right reasons, because ultimately those people, as I say, are lifesavers, quite literally, and without them our community would be poorer for them. So I'm very grateful for his opportunity to praise them. And that is why it's vital that defibrillator guardians register their device on the circuit so ambulance services can access their data. The national view provided by the circuit means if 999 is called in the West Midlands, but West Midlands Ambulance Services handlers are all busy, the call can be diverted to call handlers elsewhere who can locate the nearest defibrillator if registered. By creating a comprehensive AED map, the circuit provides data identifying where defibrillators are needed. The Daily Express, the Complete the Circuit campaign, led to a further 16,000 defibrillators being registered, but we need to ensure that every life-saving device is indeed signed up, and that's something I hope the Minister will be able to clarify whether or not that's something the Government will pursue or indeed not. Since becoming the chair of the APBG in January 2023, I have made a conscious effort to monitor public access to defibrillators in the constituency of Stoke-on-Trent North, Kidsgrove and Tork, and I visited several local organisations and groups over the past year now in order to see their access. For example, in October 2023, I was delighted to visit Linley and Kidsgrove Rugby Club, who wrote to me earlier last year about getting a defibrillator on site. It was an honour and a privilege to present the club with a cell AED device that would ensure the well-being and safety of players, spectators and the wider community. The device is portable, meaning that they can take it to away games too, which could prove pivotal. It was also fantastic to visit the Jolly Carter pub in Middleport, which installed a defibrillator late last year after a charity drive to get funding for a defibrillator. When meeting with the landlady, Naola Fisher, I was surprised to hear that it had already saved the life of a man involved in a car crash. The Four Green pub also got their own defibrillator last year, thanks to their hard fundraising efforts. And I visited in May to hear about the efforts of Jane Bushell and her team. It's the very heart of the local community, and this could help save lives in a very busy local community. and one that I personally donated towards myself, thanks to Mr Rob Matthews bringing it to my attention, which is now located on Chelheath Road in the Braidley and Chelheath wards. Slowly but surely, public access to defibrillators is improving, but it's essential that we do everything we can to rapidly speed up this process to better protect the public. With regards to emergency vehicles, the APBG's report suggested mandating every emergency vehicle to have a defibrillator. At an APBG session in May last year, we heard the tragic story of Naomi Izzet, who tragically lost her 18-year-old son Jamie because a defibrillator was not available when he collapsed at 2 in the morning. Shamefully, ambulances did not arrive within the required response time, and the police car was not equipped with a defibrillator, despite the force believing it had one. The sad reality is simple. Had the police car been equipped with a defibrillator, Jamie may still be with us today. The APBG also found that only 1 in 11 police cars have access to a defibrillator, and we carried out some freedom of information requests with all police forces in the UK. This found that many forces have defibrillators in less than 1.5% of vehicles. Having met with a representative from Lancashire Police who told us that the majority of specialist police vehicles, roads and armed response vehicles already carry defibrillators, the most standard police vehicles do not. Putting a defibrillator in every emergency vehicle and ensuring that all emergency workers know how to use them could help save lives. If only ambulances and specialist police vehicles have these life-saving devices, there is a high possibility that a police officer could get to a scene of a cardiac arrest and be unable to help in the way they would wish. Jamie's death should be a wake-up call, and I urge the Minister to consider urging emergency services to better protect the public and ensure all vehicles are equipped with these life-saving devices. But alongside improving access to defibrillators, we need to ensure people know how to use them. As a former teacher, I know just how important education is in developing people's understanding of key issues like this. The APBG make clear that integrating comprehensive first aid training with a strong focus on CPR and defibrillator usage can play a pivotal role in equipping younger generations with life-saving skills. I'm pleased that every state school is now mandated to have a defibrillator through the government's Defibs for Schools programme. This is an important step forward in widening access to defibrillators and saving lives as a result. However, there is a concern that legislation fails to mandate for schools to store their defibrillator on the outside of buildings. I sadly need to revisit the tragic story of Naomi Izzet, who told me at an evidence session that issues surrounding the emergency services lacklustre critical response time, when Jamie collapsed near a school which had a defibrillator equipped with it, but because it was inside the school premises, it meant that it was inaccessible. And the APBG and I agree that it is essential that defibrillators in schools and other public places are accessible 24/7 to heighten the chances of survival through quick access to a defibrillator. Of course, alongside having physical access to a defibrillator, it's vital that the public are aware of how to use them. And the fact that survival rates are depressingly low is in due part to the public's lack of skills and confidence to perform life-saving CPR among the UK population. With survival dependent on rapid support, it's the responsibility of policymakers and politicians to campaign to ensure as many people as possible have these life-saving skills. And that, however, according to research from over 4,000 adults by YouGov, over a third have never learned CPR. Of that group, nearly half cited a lack of awareness about where to learn, and a quarter of respondents said they lacked the confidence to learn. These figures are striking, and we need to find radical solutions to better equip the public with the skills needed to save lives. The APBG and I heard from Dr. Thomas Keeble, a consultant cardiologist and associate professor at Anglican Ruskin University, who revealed that defibrillators are used in only 1 of 10 cardiac arrests where life-saving defibrillators are available. His research revealed that people who are not only inadequately equipped with life-saving CPR skills, but also people lack the confidence to use the defibrillator when they are available. And the APG and I have met with some incredibly inspiring individuals and groups over the past 12 months. Among them, we have met with Mark King from the Oliver King Foundation. The foundation was established in 2012 following the tragic death of 12-year-old Oliver King in a school in Liverpool. Oliver died from sudden arrhythmic death syndrome, a hidden heart condition that kills 12 young people every week. The foundation set up by Oliver's father, Mark, provides training in defibrillator awareness and first aid and have placed 5,900 life-saving devices in schools and organisations across the United Kingdom. They emphasised the importance of education at an APBG session, telling me that confidence is key when using a defibrillator and that removing the fear factor is vital when teaching children how to use it. The Defib for Schools programme is a welcome step, but I urge the Minister to consider rolling out CPR training in primary schools. And in addition, it's essential we extend the regulations to ensure that defibrillators should be present in first aid sessions too. These are simple yet effective ways we can bridge the gap and empower individuals from a young age to become first responders. Alongside bettering young people's understanding and confidence with defibrillators in schools, the ABG has heard that many European countries also require first aid training to complete a driving test. This is another way we can help develop the public awareness and ultimately save lives. In Switzerland, applicants must demonstrate that they have undertaken 10 hours of first aid instruction from a government-approved company to complete the theory test. Germany also requires 7 hours of first aid training for all categories of driving licence of 9 45-minute lessons. Similar models are also copied in the Czech Republic, Austria, Slovenia, Hungary and the Baltic states. In the UK, around 2/3 of young people aged 21 to 29 have a driving licence. This presents us with a remarkable opportunity to empower a significant portion of the population with life-saving capabilities. And then I come, Dame Maria, to the VAT on defibrillators. Defibrillators vary in cost, but the average unit is around £1,250. This is a considerable expense to many groups, charities and sports clubs, especially considering that a sizable portion of it is the 20% of VAT. On average, small businesses, community groups, charities and private users must pay added tax on top of all defibrillator purchases, bringing costs up by £200 to £500 per defibrillator. Now, I know that my honourable friend, the member for Colchester, has regularly raised this when he was a minister in the department and obviously sadly couldn't be here today, but wanted to urge his support again for the government to look at this and re-evaluate it, because some charities are exempt from paying VAT on defibrillators, not-for-profit hospitals, charitable institutions that provide care or medical or surgical treatment for disabled people and rescue or first aid services. However, most sports clubs and community groups do not qualify. And last summer, when I visited AED Donate, as my right honourable friend, the member for South Staffordshire, has already raised, who are obviously out supporting the placement and use of automated external defibrillators to local communities, they told me that the removal of VAT would simply have allowed us to instil another 223 additional defibrillators in communities in 2023, but they couldn't because of that VAT. So I look forward to hearing the Minister's response to that. And in conclusion, improving survival rates for sudden cardiac arrest rests upon increasing public access to defibrillators. It's of paramount importance that we tackle the clear barriers that are preventing lives from being saved by improving public access in disadvantaged areas and through better education. And I hope that this debate today, and I thank all my honourable friends and right honourable friends for engaging with it, will raise awareness and the Minister take some of my suggestions on board. Thank you, Dame Maria.
Question is that this House has considered public access to defibrillators. Minister.
Thank you, Dame Maria. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and can I start by congratulating my honourable friend, the member for Stoke-on-Trent North, for securing this important debate. I know my honourable friend is a passionate and vocal supporter of increasing access to life-saving public defibrillators and first aid training. And I pay tribute to the work of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on defibrillators and look forward to reading their report in due course. I'd also like to pay tribute to my honourable friends, the member for Strangford and honourable member for Havant and the right honourable member for South Staffordshire, for their contributions to this short debate. Public defibrillators can really be the difference between life and death for people who suffer what is known as out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. According to the British Heart Foundation, automated external defibrillators, AEDs, are used by bystanders in only around 10% of these types of incidents, but early defibrillation within 3 to 5 minutes of collapse can increase survival rates by as high as 50 to 70%. That is why we are working hard to increase the number of community defibrillators, increasing public awareness and tackling the wider causes of heart attacks as well. I am proud that we have introduced the Community Automated External Defibrillators Fund. The £1 million match fund allows communities across England to bid for AEDs in places with high footfall, more remote areas that will have longer waiting times for emergency medical responses, and areas with high numbers of vulnerable people or where activities mean they are more likely to be needed. Certainly.
Thank the Minister for giving way, and I'd like to congratulate what the Department for Health are doing in terms of that fund. Both my honourable friend, the member for Stoke-on-Trent North, and myself have referred to charity AED Donate, and there's a lot of charitable work going on in this sector. I wondered if it would be possible for the Minister to organise for them to be able to meet up with suitable officials so that they can best understand how they can deliver on the Department's aims, and also the Department has an understanding of what they're delivering across communities across the country.
Well, my right honourable friend makes a very important point, and I join him in paying tribute to that organisation, and I'll be very happy to arrange the meeting for them with relevant officials within the department. Dame Maria, our partners on the programme of rolling out these defibrillators at the moment is Smarter Society and the London Hearts Charity, and they've been assessing applications for delivering additional AEDs, working with a wide and diverse range of groups. And the first 100 devices Smarter Society distributed were fully funded, and our partners in Warwick University helped us prioritise the areas of greater deprivation without already having an AED in situ. I am delighted to update honourable members that as of the 12th of March, Smarter Society and the London Hearts Charity have now delivered 1,590 AEDs and are working to deliver more. I'd also like to pay tribute to the work of my honourable friends in the Department for Education, who have ensured that every state school in England has access to a defibrillator. I'm told that there are now more than 20,000 devices delivered to almost 18,000 schools. This will drastically increase the chances of surviving cardiac arrest for pupils and school staff across England. The Department for Education has supported schools in making their defibrillators available to the community, having offered external heated defibrillator cabinets to primary, special and alternative provision schools in areas of deprivation where access to defibrillators is typically lower. They have also provided internal cabinets to secondary schools with 2 or more defibrillators, so one device can be placed at a sports facility where cardiac arrest is more likely to happen. All state-funded schools are required to teach first aid now as part of mandatory relationship, sex and health education curriculum, another positive change made by the Conservatives since we've been in government since 2010. This involves children aged over 12 being taught CPR and the use of a defibrillator. The Department of Education has also provided awareness videos showing how simple defibrillators are to use and is encouraging schools to share these videos in staff meetings and assemblies. This will ensure as many people as possible feel able to respond in an emergency situation. Dame Maria, I know the question of making defibrillators as affordable as possible is important to my honourable friend, and he set that out in his speech. The government agrees, and I also agree. However, we have to keep these matters under review, and as he will appreciate, matters relating to VAT are a matter for my right honourable friend, the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Dame Maria, whilst having access to defibrillators is important, just as important is knowing where they are, so they can be used in a time of crisis. That is why the NHS is working in partnership with the British Heart Foundation, the Resuscitation Council UK, and the Association of Ambulance Chief Executives to set up the circuit, which my honourable friend also talked about in his remarks. The circuit is a national database that will make it easier for ambulance services to quickly identify the nearest defibrillator when assisting someone who is having an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. As of the 1st of March, there are 86,337 defibrillators in the UK, 68,509 in England registered on the circuit, and we would encourage everyone with an AED to register it. I can assure the House that all defibrillators granted by the Community Automated External Defibrillator Fund must be registered on the circuit. The registration is completed by what is known as a defibrillator guardian, someone nominated by the organisation hosting the device. Their role involves regularly registering it on the circuit, regularly checking the defibrillator to make sure it can be used, and keeping the record updated. As I hope my honourable friend appreciates, this is both an effective and pragmatic approach to ensuring defibrillators are both where we think they should be and also that they continue to be ready for use in times of crisis. Dame Maria, I would also reinforce that AEDs are designed for ease of use. If there's one message that I can land in the debate today, and we really want to land it, is that these are very simple to use. They are very simple devices, yet they are life-saving devices, and anyone can use them without formal training. That said, training is actively helpful in increasing the confident use of defibrillators in a community setting. For that reason, the NHS has partnered with St John's Ambulance to help people gain the skills they need. This includes a national network of community advocates championing the importance of first aid training and training up 60,000 people that will save up to 4,000 lives a year by 2028. I'd like to take the opportunity to pay tribute to these organisations and others who work tirelessly to improve defibrillator access and first aid training in communities across the country. Their contributions are crucial to getting help for people in some of the toughest moments of their lives, and I cannot thank them enough. Going further, I know my honourable friend has raised the idea of requiring defibrillator training as a part of driving tests, and I know my honourable friend, the member for Colchester, has been a strong supporter of this whilst he was in this role, and he is, of course, my immediate predecessor. Whilst this is primarily a matter for the Department of Transport, I know my honourable friend will continue to make representations in this area, and I can assure him that the government is always happy to continue engaging in those discussions. I'm also aware of my honourable friend's interest in ensuring that all emergency vehicles should carry AEDs as a matter of course. Whilst this government fully recognises that the equipment carried by emergency vehicles is an operational matter, I would encourage all services to consider the benefits of carrying AEDs as a matter of routine. And on a personal note, Dame Maria, and with your indulgence, I would just like to pay tribute to David Brown, the incredible team leader of the PBB Community First Responder team, of which I am a part. I was backed up by David on the first ever cardiac arrest I attended as a community first responder almost 10 years ago, and he does incredible work in delivering CPR training across Pendle, as well as putting in thousands of hours as a volunteer with the North West Ambulance Service. I would also like to pay tribute to my late constituent, Ruth Sutton, in 2016, who saw a photo of me unveiling a new community defibrillator in the Pendleside village of Blacko in the local newspaper, and she contacted me to see how we could get even more defibrillators across Pendle. Over the following months, she worked with me, together with the North West Ambulance Service, investigating possible locations to get new defibrillator cabinets installed. By 2018, Pendle had the best coverage of public access defibrillators in Lancashire, with 20 cabinets installed, a real lasting legacy to a remarkable lady. I am therefore hopeful that our prevention and treatment work, including the forthcoming major condition strategy, which my department is in the final stages of drawing up, will act as a guiding light for a faster, simpler and fairer NHS. Combined with our efforts to increase defibrillators and increase training, first aid training across the country, we will improve our ability to intervene in an emergency situation and to save lives. I'd like to once again thank my honourable friend, the member for Stoke-on-Trent North, for securing this incredibly important debate, and I look forward to working with him long into the future to make progress on this vital issue.
The question is that this House has considered public access to defibrillators. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order. Sitting suspended until 4:30. Or is it not suspended? I've just got Jim. Brilliant.
I do the table plan. Probably work it out.
Yes.
Save the paper.
Absolutely. Minister. Nice to see you.